Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain.
Hello, everyone. So it seems there's another active shooter at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We just had a shooter there this year, I think.
Lined up there at the schools, but until they receive an all clear from proper authorities that they are just going to keep all which we've been saying many UNC Chapel Hill's campus with dozens of authorities just swarming the campus there at this hour. This started at 1 o'clock today, so a good 2 hours that this campus has been on lockdown. Students, staff, everyone is sheltering in place, and we're really just hearing the same thing from all of them. They are some limited in information, just searching and scouring social media, but also just seeing the importance of these live pictures as this is unfolding right now in real time. And we're watching a lot of this at the same time with you.
Governor Cooper weighing in on this. The governor, as you may know, is a UNC Chapel Hill graduate, and he just shared this as well. Sheriff Blackwood and Department of Public Safety Secretary Buffalo, and pledged all state resources needed to capture the shooter and protect the UNC campus. Again, that's just coming in from Governor Roy Cooper just a short time ago. And we've certainly seen that unfolding on the UNC campus. Josh Chapin describing the federal authorities are there on the scene. The FBI is now on the scene, as well as every other state law enforcement agency you can think of. Josh Chapin is joining us live again there. Josh, I'm sorry, because of that language, we had to cut out of that interview that you were doing just a moment ago with that young man who's understandably frustrated, trying to get to his girlfriend, but you're back now with someone else.
Yeah, and we apologize for that language. Obviously, this is a really heated situation, and we'd all feel the same if we were in a building and didn't know how our significant other was doing and not getting constant updates. But and started having conversations with him and wanted to share it with you guys. You just told me
I appreciate that.
you moved here a week ago from Europe. Continue the story from there and your experience just watching this. I know you didn't hear the gunfire. A little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I moved here a week ago, and obviously you hear about stuff like that on the news, and I was not expecting it to actually happen that quickly. I told my family nothing is going to happen. Safe. I'm kind of doubting that right now. I also talked to some of my American fellow students and asked them, "Are you used to stuff like that happening?" And they were like, "No. How could you be used to that?" Like, I think everyone's feeling the same right now, and I don't know what to feel. I can say that I've never witnessed something like that where I'm from.
And where are you from?
I'm from Germany, Berlin. And obviously, in my opinion, that is due to differences in gun policies. I just have to say that.
Yeah. And tell me what you came here to study.
I study poli-sci, political science. I'm a grad student. So I do deal with issues like that in the classroom. Seeing it like play out like that in real life kind of gives you a different perspective, kind of makes it more important to talk about gun laws, I think. I don't think this would have happened. Yeah.
And you see, look at this gentleman, a couple of state troopers walking around, guns drawn. You know, as you said, this is not something you're used to seeing in Berlin?
No, it's definitely not. I mean, we obviously have a lot of history with stuff like that happening. There used to be a lot of military in the city like 30 years ago, but I think we've come a long way, and I think it's good that way. I think you shouldn't be used to seeing gun public. That should not be happening.
Tell me a little bit about, have you texted with anybody that's in these buildings here, or nobody that in buildings or anywhere close to what was going on? About it, not just you as a grad student, but the kids who have started undergraduate here a week ago, their first experience, and then they're being walked out of the building, maybe not with their hands up as we're used to seeing, but walked carefully out of the building. As you said, emotionally, that's got to take a toll on you and these other students.
I mean, some of these students are, 18 years old? I think, I don't know if I can go back to class tomorrow or even next week. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to just walk around on the street here if I know stuff like that can actually happen. I don't know if how it's for an 18-year-old. Probably worse, probably traumatizing. And again, I think that shouldn't happen, and it doesn't have to happen.
And tell me about the campus here. You know, you come to Chapel Hill a week ago. It's vibrant. There are people walking around. I described it as kind of eerie right now. When you drive in, you're used to seeing so many people walking on the street, and it was like you could hear a pin drop when you're driving into campus.
Yeah, I've never seen campus this quiet. Yeah, it's scary. Obviously, it's weird. I think everybody's kind of in shock as well. I don't know what to feel right now. And I don't know if I can see campus the way I did before again.
Okay, thank you. FBI is here, and we're going to continue to press those law enforcement sources to try and drill down some better information. Stephen Amber, I know that has been a lot of the complaints from, again, just social media. From students here, you know, people tweeting out videos of those law enforcement officers from a variety of different agencies walking around with guns drawn, and that's about all we know, right? We don't know too much, and we do have that picture circulating now, but we'll continue to press for some better information as the afternoon goes along and continue to talking to folks like Jose to give us some perspective as to what it's like this afternoon on campus. Back to you guys.
Yeah, very interesting conversation with Jose, just arriving, a grad student at UNC, a grad student from Berlin. Josh, so to help us understand, you've covered obviously a lot of situations, police, law enforcement operations, that sort of thing. it struck me that those two, what you described as potentially state troopers walking by, they were heavily armed and armored. They had their body armor on, but they didn't look like they were proceeding with in a deliberate way and in a certain direction. So it would seem to suggest that things are calming in some respect, at least in that part of campus.
I think that's a fair characterization of it. I mean, we also saw some what appeared to be ununiformed officers in tactical vests, which honestly, if you covered any of these incidents, just they don't have to rise to this sort of level, but you do see them sometimes walking around like this with guns, with long guns drawn, and these folks were not running into any particular situations. The troopers were walking away from me, and the other folks who were in tactical gear were just walking down Macaulay Street casually. They weren't running after everyone. So if they're letting folks out of classes, it means they're clearing these buildings. You do hear sounds like this every once in a while, and I don't know that they're necessarily running after anyone. They're just maybe clearing the scene and going somewhere else if they get a ping from this suspect's vehicle.
And just to remind everyone, what's happening there on the UNC Chapel Hill campus. The university police say that the lockdown continues. What they were describing in their last correspondence, that it is an active assailant situation. That is their description of what's happening, reminding everyone, if you're on campus, stay secured. If you're off campus, stay away from campus. Again, that person we're showing on the left side of your screen, that is the person described as a person. UNC police saying if you see him, stay away, keep your distance, and call 911 right away. But it's very important that everyone in that community, and frankly across the triangle, be on the lookout for that person and call 911 right away if you see him.
And we should add that along with UNC Chapel Hill on lockdown, the school systems in the surrounding area are on lockdown, and Chapel Hill is asking people to stay away. So they just sent that out via their news site. Home from their first day of school in the Chapel Hill Carborough school system. And we have been notified that those school districts, until they get the all clear from authorities, they have been directed not to release students
I don't know why it keeps
that's going to do the same and just continue sheltering in place.
We're also getting help, some notification from UNC Health, some news from UNC Health. They're saying UNC hospitals in Chapel Hill, they are on lockdown as well. As a precaution, their outpatient clinics on the UNC campus are closed for the rest of the day. So if you know anybody who has a medical appointment at one of the clinics at UNC Health in Chapel Hill on campus at the in the heart of the UNC campus around UNC hospitals, those appointments are canceled, and obviously no visitors, no one coming and going, because UNC hospitals, all of the UNC hospitals, that entire complex, they are on lockdown as well, consistent with what is happening all across campus right now.
And you can see on your screen, we continue to have that picture up. That is the picture released by UNC police. It says what they sent out is this photo shows a person of interest in today's armed and dangerous person situation. If you see this person, please take a good look at this photo. And if you can, circulate it on your social media. They are saying, though, keep your distance if you see this person, put your safety first, and call 911. But it looks like that right there is the person of interest. And the person that they are also calling an active assailant is who they are looking for. They changed that language to searching for an active assailant from an active shooter this afternoon. At 1 o'clock, it was an active shooter, and then about 45 minutes later, they changed it to an active assailant on campus. So it changed the verbiage there.
We continue to understand what's happening on campus in real time by talking to people who are on campus under that lockdown right now. We want to go on the phone now to another UNC student, Bailey Hughes. She is a first-year student there. Bailey, you are just getting situated there on campus. This is week 2 of class. Tell us where you are in this lockdown and what's happening around you.
Yes, sir. I'm currently in the student union bathroom with 6 other girls and the traffic guard. Me and my friend were at the bus stop about to go to softball practice, and we saw the police riding by. The alarm started going off, and we sprinted across the street and came inside. And the traffic guard helped us lock the door and barricade the doors. We've been sitting in the bathroom stall for almost 2 hours now.
Were you able to lock the bathroom door there, Haley?
Yeah, the bathroom door is locked and barricaded. We're all in the big stall with the door closed, lights off, everything.
And Bailey, obviously, a really very anxiety-ridden situation, a worrisome situation there. Are you getting anything? You said you're there with some sort of an official who's in the restroom with you right now.
Yes, one of our traffic guards.
Traffic guards, and is the traffic guard getting anything concrete in terms of information from UNC police directly from the police that students may not be getting that can be helpful in understanding what's happening?
No, sir. We're currently in the dark. We have no idea what's going on, and it's just for it to be most of our first weeks here is just very traumatizing and a lot to go through right now, especially with me coming from a small town. It's just a lot, and it's a lot for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey, where is home for you? What town are you from?
I'm from Williamston, North Carolina, near Greenville.
Mm-hmm. Bailey, we can hear it in your voice, the fear, the lowering of your voice. Is that kind of how all of you are just in there? Are you trying to be quiet? Are you able to get on social media? Are you having sporadic service? Are you limited in your communication as to what's happening? There's probably no windows if you're in a bathroom.
There's no windows. We're completely in the dark. Everyone's in here whispering on their phones, trying to get as many updates as possible. But it's very traumatizing and scary. When it first happened, I know me, as well as a couple of the other girls, were very upset just with everything that's going on. We're just trying to stay as calm as possible.
Yeah, we understand that entirely. And unfortunately, you're getting the Alert Carolinas. We're getting the information directly from UNC police as well. And unfortunately, there's not a lot to share right now with you, Bailey, or with our viewers in terms of a resolution, an endpoint to this right now. They're saying the lockdown continues. The search for the assailant continues. They've shared this photograph. But Bailey, the one thing that we can add, you obviously can't watch our coverage because you're there in that restroom at the student union, but we are seeing in our live feed from our crews across campus that at least on South Campus right now, we are seeing some students walking around. It appears that they are now clearing buildings where this incident unfolded with this assailant, person described as an assailant. It looks like they're clearing those buildings right now. So Bailey, I hope that comes as some comfort to you that some parts of campus, we're seeing students walking around with their backpacks and they appear to be able to go on their way back to their dorms. So obviously we don't have any indication that the lockdown's lifted there at the student union. We're just seeing a couple of students embracing right there. Would appear to be students, two people, two young women embracing there as they're walking across the street. But Bailey, I hope that is helpful to you in understanding that at least in some parts of campus, they are clearing buildings right now.
Yes, sir, it is. I just hope we're next, and I hope everything is cleared up pretty soon because it's just a lot for all of us right now.
Yeah, we understand that, and I can't imagine how traumatizing this must be. We heard the same thing from a foreign exchange student from Germany who was saying, how can I come back to campus tomorrow after going through something like this today, especially coming from Europe, where he said they just don't have a lot of issues with gun violence. So this is certainly something that I know that the school is going to have to address, and that it's going to be something that really sets the tone now for the whole year for so many people at UNC Chapel Hill. So we hope that you will get the all clear to be able to leave safely from that bathroom where you said there's 6 total in there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8 of us.
8 of you sheltering in a bathroom, headed to softball practice, as you were saying, and day 6 of classes here for your freshman year, just not how you wanted to start your year at all. And this is not a drill for so many people, a very scary situation unfolding. So, we're watching it with you, a lot of thoughts with all of you all at UNC Chapel Hill. And I know your families are concerned, and this is going to be really just something that is going to have to be with you for some time. So please stay in touch with us here and let us know if there's anything more that you would like to share with us. And going forward, if there's anything you would like us to help get out to the public. We appreciate you talking to us.
Yeah, we're thinking about you, Bailey, and we hope that things resolve themselves very quickly.
Thank
Bailey
you.
Hughes, in the student union, in a women's restroom right now, a total of eight students there with her inside that building. She is a first-year student, obviously a very challenging beginning to her UNC career. We want to check in with Sean Coffey now, our reporter on the scene. He's actually here where we've been watching that live feed. And Sean, this is an encouraging sign, as we were just describing and talking through with Bailey, that it appears that some buildings are being cleared and people are being allowed to move on past that part of South Campus where you are.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. About 5 minutes ago, we saw a group of, I'd say, 15 to 20 students that came out across South Road here with their hands up or on their head. Actually, I think maybe if Skeeta can zoom in above these lights, you're about to see another group doing the same thing here and crossing South Road, which I agree is an encouraging sign at this point. As you see now, they're walking in single file past that line of lights. That's near the entrance to the north side here. We're kind of on the north side of Kenan Stadium as a point of reference here. This part of South Road kind of runs alongside the sort of the northern edge of that stadium. Previously, we saw the students make a right turn as they're doing right now and walk in that direction, which is towards the stadium there. But obviously, they are in the process of clearing buildings. We just spoke to someone who was in Wilson Library, which is down South Road in the same direction here as now we have what appears to be some sort of SWAT vehicle that's arriving on scene as well. The person that was in the library said that they were in the process of clearing the library too. They're going building by building. This is a good point of clarification because obviously campus doesn't had a little while ago with a professor, a science professor who was in Caudill Labs down South Road here. That's actually the same laboratory, if you recall, that I spoke with the grad student from earlier. That student was interrogated as he was leaving a bathroom right after that alert went out over his phone. He said he was just coming out of the bathroom. There were already law enforcement officers in there just a few minutes later, asked for his ID, asked him, searched his belongings, made sure he wasn't armed. And this professor who was in that same lab described a very similar scene. He said that police had cleared the building, which is why he was allowed to leave, but he was interrogated as he was leaving. Again, he said he wasn't sure that that's where this incident started, but that general part of campus appears to be the epicenter. He said that there's still a heavy police activity in that part of campus down South Road here in the area of Bell Tower Drive as well, and by Stone Center Drive too. That's right on the other side of Moorhead, Patterson, Bell Tower. But from our vantage point here, and again, we haven't been able to get more than a few hundred yards from this line of police vehicles. The law enforcement presence is only increasing. But obviously there's a very strong perimeter here. But from our vantage point here, it does appear that more and more students are kind of walking away from this area of campus, which is obviously a good thing at this point.
And Sean, we should add a point of caution for everyone on the UNC Chapel Hill campus that UNC police still continue to say that there is an armed and dangerous person who remains on the loose right now. And there is a person of interest. This person you're seeing on the screen right now. So while there are some buildings where people are being allowed to leave right now, across the campus right now, this lockdown continues. And again, the update from police is this armed and dangerous person is still out there and has not been caught. So there's still obviously some concern about that. I'm just getting another update here from Alert Carolina that they are staying now. This just came out 2 minutes ago from UNC Police. Stay sheltered in place until the all clear is given. All classes and events canceled for the rest of the day. Sean, I guess what's important for everyone to understand is we don't have concrete details yet from the authorities. We are hearing from various people on campus about what they saw and heard earlier today, and we're being very cautious and prudent in what we're reporting here until we have those facts verified by UNC police and the UNC administration. There was obviously some sort of a shooting event the possibility of injuries. That has not been confirmed. But anything else you can elaborate on in terms of the conversations you're having with those people who are coming out of those buildings?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. Frankly, we just don't know exactly what happened at this hour. Authorities still haven't confirmed very much, but based on my conversations, and I will add, you make a good point about the status here on campus, because you're not advised to go outside right now unless you're directed to do so by law enforcement. Campus police have been very clear, and all law enforcement here, that this is very much an active investigation here and scene, and that students should shelter in place and be safe more than anything else. But I want to say I had spoken with that professor who came out of the laboratory earlier, and we've been asking people walking by if they'd recognize the photo of this person of interest. We've yet to speak to anyone who has recognized the person in that photo. Obviously, this is a massive university, so it's going to take a little bit of effort to find this guy who's out there. But basically, at this point, we're seeing what you're seeing, which is that you have a number of students that are kind of walking down South Road from this area of campus. And again, and I know my colleagues have reinforced this point as well, this is really the heart of UNC. I mean, we're not that far from the pit. We're not that far from both Wilson and the undergraduate libraries, like I said, Kenan Stadium. And I mean, this is really sort of the beating heart of UNC's campus, at an area where people are typically congregating and are out and about. So for this to happen so close to this part of campus, I mean, it sort of just adds a level of seriousness to the situation, to what's already obviously an incredibly serious situation. So you're sort of seeing these people trickle out from this part of campus. But in all honesty, like you said, we've been incredibly cautious, because there is a lot of chatter on social media, and we just don't know at this time exactly what's transpired here. So, we're trying to obviously err on the side of caution and be as responsible as we can with the facts that we have at this moment. But as we learn anything more, obviously we'll be sure to update you. Immediately.
All right, Sean Coffey there on campus, where the encouraging update that you've been watching live with us here on Eyewitness News is that some buildings are being cleared there in that part of South Campus. You see people walking by there in the foreground of your screen, and we've seen people walking out of buildings as well. This is obviously a situation that is beginning to resolve itself in some buildings. We have seen campus police and other law enforcement in a very deliberate way working to clear these buildings and let people go from those buildings and go home and go about their day right now, after what's been a terrifying past nearly 2.5 hours on the UNC campus, when we first got reports of this Alert Carolina that there was a shooter on campus and everyone needed to shelter in place. That shelter in place does continue for everyone else on campus. People who are watching our streaming coverage, or if you're watching our coverage right now and you're concerned about someone who's on campus, as soon as campus police and other law enforcement are able to clear those specific buildings, people like this you're seeing here will be allowed to go and will be allowed to continue with their day. But right now, the campus lockdown continues. Again, the word from UNC police is that this armed and dangerous person is still out there right now.
We do still have the schools in the surrounding area of Carrboro, Chapel Hill on lockdown, as well as the search continues on the campus of UNC Chapel Hill. We do know that the school system is giving us information about how they're just also waiting. It's going to be a very late evening for a lot of families. Elena Athens is joining us live from a nearby elementary school at Glenwood Elementary School. This is about a mile away from campus, Elena. It looks like parents are lined up there, just also waiting for the all clear to take their kids.
Yeah, this school is less than a mile away from UNC Chapel Hill. It's right down 54. And I was just chatting with a parent who says she's been here almost 2 hours sitting in her car. You can look at this line of vehicles. They actually stretch all the way to Highway 54, then kind of curve around this bend, and then stretch to the top of the building, where right now there is a school administrator who is going door to door and trying to update parents as to what the situation is. You see a live look right now of that administrator, chatting and trying to reassure parents. But the mom I just spoke to says this is her kindergartner's first day of school. You can imagine the stress and fear that mother is experiencing. You're just getting to the point where you're sending your child off to school, first day, and then this is what happens. her and her husband are in the vehicle waiting for their child to come out, as are many other parents here waiting for their kids when that all clear is given and they can finally reunite. But just a terrifying day for parents who already are feeling a number of emotions to send off their children to school for the very first time. And then this is what happens. So the district is children. We just got here a few minutes ago, so we're going to continue to kind of make our way around. But certainly frightening, scary, all of the things for what turned out to be a very scary first day back to school for some of these kids. Amber and Steve.
Yeah, obviously, what a challenging, terrifying day. Imagine your kindergartner, sending your kindergartner off, and surrounding schools around UNC Chapel Hill, like the Chapel Hill Carborough system, they're locked down today. Elena, thank you. So here's what we know right now, that because of this armed and dangerous person, that's the description from UNC police. They are reminding everyone to shelter in place, avoid windows, close doors. And they're just the update that just came in on the Alert Carolina system just a couple of minutes ago is to remain sheltered in place, and that all classes and events are canceled on the UNC Chapel Hill campus for the rest of the day. I want to show you some video that we just had come in from Carson Rain. And take a look at this. We can show you this for the first time here on Eyewitness News. This is the process right now they are going through in various buildings on campus where they are working to clear them. These are law enforcement authorities there, obviously wearing their armored gear and heavily armed. And they are proceeding foot by foot down this hallway in a very deliberate way to clear that building. And I don't know exactly which building this is.
This is the Moorhead Labs.
Moorhead Labs. Okay.
Labs. And we have another video that was sent to us, which we're not going to turn around for you because it was so short, but it was in the Genome Science building. So it appears their focus has been concentrated in the science sector, if you will, of UNC Chapel Hill. So this is Moorhead Labs, just going door to door. This is shot by, I believe, a student, Carson Rain, who we're crediting there in the corner. But this is what a lot of the students are witnessing today. So when you talk about sending your kindergartner off, when you talk about sending your freshman on campus at a college, this has been a traumatizing day for so many people, whether they're going to kindergarten or whether they're starting their senior year at UNC Chapel Hill. Anyone in the vicinity of UNC Chapel Hill today and the lockdown that has gone on and continues to go on that campus and UNC Chapel Hill Carborough School District as well. Thousands and thousands of families that are still waiting for word and just anxiously waiting to take their loved ones home and make sure that everybody is safe. That picture on the screen there, that is the picture released by the campus police about the person of interest, this armed and dangerous person situation, an active assailant on campus that started at 1 o'clock today. And we have seen them starting to clear certain rooms and buildings and trying to let some of those students, out, maybe get back to shelter back in place at their house. As we've heard from some, they're locked down in bathrooms. They were in the bathroom when they got the message. So they're trying to just make sure that they're safe and clear, that they can get to maybe a more comfortable situation to shelter.
And you can understand that on such a large campus with so many buildings and so many students and faculty and staff, that this is going to be an immense job. It may take a very long time to clear all of those buildings. I just want to add, as we are getting other confirmed, verified details, I want to add that UNC hospitals, we asked them what the situation is there, and they say they have not received any patients from this active shooter situation at this time. So what that would tell us is that there is no one who received any injuries who went to UNC hospitals. That does not fully help us understand if there was anyone else who may have been impacted by this shooting. So we're still working to sort that out. We want to go
Sean Coffey,
back to campus now.
Sean Coffey is on the scene there, and he's been there all afternoon. And Sean, I understand you're talking to some students that looks like maybe they've been cleared.
Yeah, that's right, Amber, Steve. I have 3 students here. We have Seth, Jay, and Calvin. And let me just start off by asking, well, how are you guys doing, first and foremost?
Pretty good right now. Yeah. Yeah, we were on the way to get some food. But State trooper gave us the all clear, so we feel pretty good about it.
You're hanging in there, all things considered, though.
Oh yeah.
Where were you when this alert went out, and what can you tell us about what you saw and what you heard?
We were in genome sciences over there, and we were just in the middle of our astronomy class, and the projector on the screen just came up with like the Alert Carolina message that was like, "There's an armed and dangerous man on campus" or something like that, and we just went through the lecture like normal for a little bit, and then we kind of realized it was a pretty serious situation. So I think we'd locked the doors pretty quickly, and we were just kind of like hunkering down, just like sitting in there waiting for more information. But
how long roughly was that time period that you were in there hunkered down?
I mean, probably
like
at least hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that.
Yeah, but they
probably
gave us information pretty consistently.
You did, from the university.
Well, yeah.
Describe what that's like. I mean, in those moments, obviously that must be pretty scary. I don't know what year you guys are in school, but I mean, for anybody, that's got to be sort of freaky.
Yeah, so I'm a senior, and I'll be graduating this year, and it definitely was a little scary at first. But after a while, we kind of realized the cops were like they were kind of setting up camp like right outside our door. So like after a while, we kind of like, this feels like probably the safest place to be at the moment. So yeah.
What exactly did they tell you when obviously you guys were cleared because you're out here now. So what exactly happened to kind of get you guys out of that sort of hunker down situation?
Yeah, I mean, we were just sitting in there for a while. A cop comes up to the front of the room and he's like, "Guys, you can go to South Campus or you can stay in here." So then we're deciding, okay, we're going to go to South Campus, get out of this room. Then we go outside to the lobby and they're like, "Okay, all clear, you can go anywhere now, just away from the scene."
Was it? Did they ask for your student IDs? Did they ask to search any of your stuff or nothing like that?
Well, not us, because we were already in there, but I know a bunch of people did get checked like on the way in. We weren't given a ton of information on like how that was going down, but I think because we were in that room the whole time, I guess they didn't feel the need to check us or something.
Well, I'm curious, in terms of, you guys just got back to campus about a week ago, or just started classes about a week ago. I mean, what's it like having to deal with this so soon into a school year? Typically, obviously, this part of campus is still technically on lockdown. So where do you guys kind of go from here?
Well, my last class of the day got canceled. Probably stay at the apartment for the rest of the day.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you guys go. I really do appreciate a little bit of perspective about what happened. I'm glad you're all doing safe. All right, Steve, there you have it here from campus.
Were let go from the genome sciences building, from astronomy class there, and Sean, I think it's I think it's worth noting. We obviously have a lot of people who are concerned about what's happening on campus, and we need to help them understand what's happening and read into the observations we're making. So obviously, to the extent you can understand what's happening, people are not limited in where they can walk on campus, right? That building has been cleared, and these guys and anyone else released from those buildings, they can go wherever they want. You're not seeing any restrictions in place.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. As of this point, that seems to be correct. It seems like it's frankly kind of a building by building situation as of right now. Once these three gentlemen that I just spoke to, for example, were instructed that they were able to leave by law enforcement, it sounds like they're able to kind of go about their day now. Obviously, classes canceled, but that does seem to be correct.
And again, the latest update we have just came 15 minutes or so ago from UNC Police. They're telling everyone to stay sheltered in place until the all clear is given. So obviously, these people you're seeing walking down the sidewalk here, the all clear has been given for them. So it appears that what they're doing, which we often see in a shooter situation like this, law enforcement will go into a building. We see this happen across the country. They'll go in, they'll work to clear a building, ongoing in that building with someone who may have been tied to the situation, and they need to potentially take into custody. So that's what they're working on, this very deliberate process of clearing buildings. But I guess the reassuring part for people more broadly on the UNC campus is that people are allowed to move freely now that those buildings have been cleared.
Yes, and I know I'm actually texting with a student that's still locked down in a basement, and he's asking what's going on because he can't see anything. So he's waiting for them to clear them as well, and just said this is going to take a long time because This is a very large campus, and they appear to be going building to building. We had some video that we saw earlier sent in from Carson Rain in the Moorhead Labs, where they were actively going down, and you could see there's the video here. This is what we received from the Moorhead Labs. This is how those officers are just going from room to room, and you can see just very methodically working to make sure that every inch is clear in every classroom. And this is, of course, what the students are talking about, what they're witnessing, and some of them telling us that this has just been an absolutely traumatizing day for so many students on campus that are having to sit through this shelter in place. That's what another student that we spoke with earlier, I believe was that Brooks, I believe. We spoke to one student earlier. This is what they did to their door. They barricaded their door with all the furniture. Bailey and her roommates, when they received that lockdown, it was barricading there.
And yeah, we spoke with her on the phone, and you see they put a dresser there in front of one door, and then the desk in front of that. We are still waiting for the latest from Chapel Hill Carborough, from the school system there. And this is more video we had earlier. This is from inside a lecture hall. And you can see these students down on the floor, showing us the door is locked and secure. This is what has been happening on campus since about 1 p.m. The alert went out at 1:03 p.m. that there was an active shooter on campus. The sirens sounded, the emergency warning sirens sounded. An announcement went over the loudspeaker saying there was an armed and dangerous person on campus and everyone needed to lock down. And that's what we've been seeing from inside various buildings on campus, students taking precautions to stay safe and stay secure inside these various buildings, inside the dorms, inside the classroom buildings. And again, what we're seeing now is that some buildings near South Campus have been cleared.
Was released by the UNC Police Department. This shows a person of interest in today's armed and dangerous person situation. That's the words of UNC Police. Police are asking if you see this person to keep your distance, put your safety first, and to call 911. So it appears that that is a person that they are actively searching for. We are also monitoring social media, and we should reassure you that before we release any information publicly, we do make sure that we sometimes double and triple check with authorities to make sure that we have the information correct before we release it to the public. So just like you, we are seeing a lot of the things on social media that are circulating. But right now, the word right now from UNC Chapel Hill is this continues to be an active search. Stay sheltered in place until the all clear is given. All classes and events are canceled for the rest of the day. And when you see these students, these are students that have been cleared. They are going building to building and making sure that the building is secure before they're releasing people. And they're probably breaking it down into different quadrants of campus where certain areas have already been searched. So we are staying very close with the Chapel Hill Police Department. We're staying very close with the UNC Chapel Hill Carborough City Schools, as they are also waiting for the all clear on this situation. Arlena Athens is reporting there at an elementary school just about a mile away from campus, where the carpool line is there. The families are waiting, very, very anxious to take their families home. She spoke to one parent, and this is their child's first day of kindergarten.
And I hope everyone who is watching this can appreciate the level of anxiety on campus is certainly lifting in terms of the urgency of this situation. And we're waiting to understand exactly why law enforcement is proceeding in this way right now in terms of letting people go and letting them walk freely on campus. That is obviously a very encouraging sign for anyone still who remains under this lockdown in a building that has not yet been cleared, because it surely, it's obviously going to be a long process on a campus as large as the UNC Chapel Hill campus to clear each of the buildings, and that is the law enforcement process. We haven't received clarity on exactly how they intend to proceed in clearing all of the buildings, but you can imagine that is a large campus with tens of thousands of people potentially given day, especially when you factor in UNC hospitals and the medical center campus as well. That's obviously part of the UNC campus there. So we're waiting for some more details about how law enforcement plans to clear every square foot of campus, which they're doing very deliberately right now, especially there on South Campus, where this shooting appears to have taken place right around 1 o'clock this afternoon.
We immediately dispatched all of our reporters to the scene, and that includes Akila Davis, who is live there. Akila, the last time we checked, you were at where were you near Macaulay Street, near campus. Is that where you remain now?
I am, Amber. You know, there is really a heightened sense of panic here on campus, and understandably so. There are tons of students being escorted out of those buildings as this lockdown remains in place. State Highway Patrol helicopters are flying overhead, and I saw a group of officers carrying rifles rushing over to the scene. So we're all watching. Again, more students just being escorted out of buildings here on campus. And we're talking about a college campus that typically is busy and bustling with students heading to and from class, but that is not the case today. A lot of, again, panic, anxiousness, anxiety here as students are rushing, racing past me. I just spoke to one student who was on FaceTime with her mom, and she said her mom is just helping her, just guide her, just calm her nerves and get her back to her apartment. But the student is having trouble because a lot of the streets are blocked off. So again, this is just unimaginable. You know, again, live look here at the scene, more than 20 law enforcement cars here. Again, I'm on South Road, and this is Columbia Street. That lockdown continues here on campus. Tons of law enforcement agencies, the town of Chapel Hill. We've got campus police, we've got state troopers, and I saw a North Carolina Emergency Management Task Force vehicle rushing over. So yeah, just again, a lot of panic on campus here. Back to you all.
And Akila, have you been able to talk to anybody who's been released from those buildings to help us understand how that process is unfolding of clearing buildings?
I did, not necessarily down to how the process, but again, I was referencing the student that I just spoke to. She said she's a junior, and she said she was just being held. She didn't hear anything, but she was being held in lab with a bunch of other students, just nervous, trying to figure out what happened, and not knowing what exactly is going on, but knowing that there is a lockdown in place and that they have to remain in this building until they've been given the all clear. And again, that is the student that I referenced who was rushing out of the scene, tears in her eyes. And she told me she was on FaceTime with her mom and just trying to get home, trying to get back to her apartment where for her, it's a safe space.
Fortunately, Akila, now the video we're showing on the screen right now shows that a large number of students have been let go from their various classroom buildings as the various buildings are being cleared by law enforcement, and those lockdowns in specific buildings are being lifted. More broadly, the lockdown remains in place on campus right now as UNC police and other law enforcement work to clear those buildings. But this is obviously very encouraging. What you're seeing here on your screen right now, as we cover this breaking news in real time on the UNC Chapel Hill campus, is people are allowed to move about campus. Obviously, if they're UNC police say that their most recent communication they've had, what they put out on Alert Carolina, is that there is still an ongoing concern. But obviously, this tells a slightly different story. People are being allowed to walk around on campus. It appears there are no restrictions on where they can go on campus. So that would seem to suggest that police believe that there is no obviously ongoing threat to those people. Otherwise, they wouldn't be allowed to walk around like this. So that is the encouraging sign. But again, it can be kind of a nerve-wracking process. We know for so many people who are watching our coverage, parents watching our coverage, people with loved ones on the UNC Chapel Hill campus who are watching and texting with those people who are in the room, and they've been there since 1 o'clock. We've talked to so many other students this afternoon in our live breaking news coverage here who have been locked down either in classroom buildings or inside their dorms waiting for work. If you're watching this and you're concerned about people on campus, or you are on campus watching this, just know that this is a very positive and encouraging sign that buildings are being cleared and people are being allowed to move about the campus right now.
So the time right now is 3:43, and elementary dismissal was at 2:35 for the Chapel Hill Carborough School District around this area, which has also been on lockdown. We want to go to Elena Athens now, who is at Glenwood Elementary, just about a mile away from that scene. And I understand they're just starting to release some of those students to their parents, Elena?
Yes, they are. Let me step out of the shot so you can get a live look, as we are starting to see some children coming out of the school and making their way to the bus. I mean, you can imagine for the parents who have been waiting in this line, that is a more than welcoming sight as they are starting to see children come out of this school. So again, we're giving you a live look right now at Glenwood Elementary. This is right off of 54. We are less than a mile away from UNC's campus. So again, we are starting to see some children come out of that school. If I can, though, I just want to show you what the situation has been like here, because there are parents who have been waiting for more than 2 hours at this point. You can see right now this long line of vehicles that are lined outside of Glenwood Elementary School. We spoke to a parent not so long ago, and I believe we do have a bit of our conversation. He said it's her school just entering kindergarten, and then but she said, you know, her heart has been in her stomach all day. This is an incredibly nerve-wracking situation. Imagine first child, send him out first day of elementary school in kindergarten, and this is what happens. You have this lockdown at the school where no one is allowed to go in, come out, get your child. So she's certainly anxious to get her child back, but also at the same time thankful that these safety measures were put in place and that her child is in fact safe. We're going to go back over here. I'm going to take you back up to the school as we continue to see children coming out and making their way out of Glenwood Elementary School after waiting all this time during this lockdown. So I'm going to send it back to you guys, Amber and Steve.
All right, Elena Athens, where the encouraging update from the Chapel Hill Carborough school system right now is that classes are being dismissed. They were in secure status across the school system in elementary, middle, and high schools on the first day of school because of this ongoing concern and threat at UNC Chapel Hill.
All after-school activities in the district are canceled. Clubs, practices, tryouts, any games, all today. And after school care, they said, will safely take place indoors today. So if you couldn't get there, if you can't rush, or I know that it may have even been hard to get around Chapel Hill with a lot of the police activity, but they are keeping the aftercare going today. It is just going to stay indoors. So that is a good sign and scene there from Glenwood Elementary School, just about a mile away from UNC Chapel Hill. And we continue to see more of this. This is the live feed coming in. We have crews across campus right now. This started unfolding just about 1 o'clock in the South Campus area where they have been working to clear buildings. And we're seeing across campus right now this UNC police effort to clear more and more classroom buildings. We don't yet know exactly if any of the residence halls have been cleared, but this is an encouraging sign that people are being allowed to walk around campus, that there's no ongoing concern as buildings are being cleared. Now, UNC police, we should add that they say that you do need to remain in lockdown status as they work to clear buildings. But as your building is cleared, then you will be allowed to go about your business on campus right now, as so many people are. Finally, after about 2 hours and 45 minutes, people are now being allowed to walk around campus. Actually, yeah, almost 3 hours. Yeah. It started unfolding at 1 o'clock today. And, you know, for some of these people, they're locked in bathrooms and in places where, you know, maybe in other rooms where they have no facilities and they couldn't leave. So they're just trying to work to get them into a better, maybe even more comfortable situation. It's been a very rough afternoon for a lot of folks. The Alert Carolina at UNC Chapel Hill, the last update came at 3:14, and it said that this is still stay sheltered in place till you get the all clear. Classes and events all canceled for today. That was the latest from Alert Carolina. And we've been talking to students on campus, students who have been locked down. They've been on the phone sharing perspective from inside their dorms, their residence halls, and also classroom buildings. And we've also been talking to students as they've been released from some of these buildings. Let's take a look.
We just heard police were surrounding us. We were having our lecture and an alert popped up and we had no idea what to do. Our professor didn't know what to do. We just all came up with a plan together, but we were freaking out. I don't know.
I don't know. Everyone was just panicking. People almost opened the door, and they were told not to open the door. And then finally, we got evacuated. So it was just a lot of rumors.
We had no instruction, no confirmation from anything. It was just all so stressful, all outside sources. So yeah.
And it's been concerning and frustrating for students there on campus as they've been released from some of these buildings because they still don't have any concrete information about exactly what happened and what unfolded. We don't have any concrete information directly from authorities. So we're being very, very cautious and prudent in what we're reporting because we want to wait until the campus authorities have the facts verified themselves and pass those along to us. So far, there has been no news conference, no opportunity for us to engage with UNC police or administrators to find out more about what happened, and no opportunity for them to describe to us exactly what happened. What we do know is the first Alert Carolina went out at 1:03 this afternoon, describing an to seek shelter right away. The campus was going on lockdown, and as it's been unfolding this afternoon, getting verified concrete information about the possibility of anyone being injured or who this shooter was, if there were multiple shooters, there's very little clarity right now. We're working to sort all of that out. And of course, everyone in the Breaking News Center and in the field there in Chapel Hill, we're all working our sources and working our contacts, working to get that information. But we want to proceed with caution here, and we'll let you know as soon as we have concrete information from authorities there in Chapel Hill.
We've been seeing some pictures of students that are continuing to be released from Glenwood Elementary, about a mile away from UNC Chapel Hill. We have some sound from some of the parents there.
My heart is in my mouth. I am waiting for my kid. It was his first day at school today. He's in kindergarten. And
He's our eldest son.
This was
the first experience we are having with this.
You said the worst experience.
No, the first
experience, yeah. And this was the last thing that I was kind of hoping to feel on the first day of my kid's school.
He doesn't have a cell phone at this point, does he?
No.
Can you imagine what he's going through? I mean, do you think he's scared, or do you think he just thinks?
I don't think he's aware because he's just little. But I do appreciate that they're keeping them in there. So I'd rather them be safe than not be safe. But yeah, I can't wait to meet him.
So finally, some relief for parents and students there in the Chapel Hill Carborough School District. Elena Athens there talking to some students, talking to some parents waiting to pick up their child there at Glenwood Elementary. All Chapel Hill Carborough elementary, middle, and high schools were under secure status. They were not allowing people to come and go. The students were there being held in their classrooms, doors locked, as a matter of concern beyond the UNC Chapel Hill campus.
They kept them also sheltering in place, but as of 3:40, the update from the school system there, we've received the all clear from the proper authorities, which means our dismissal process will now begin for elementary and middle schools. High schools will dismiss at their normal time, which is 4 p.m. So just to give you a little more info, students who walk or ride to school will be able to leave at the dismissal time. This includes being picked up in the car rider line, which is what we've been seeing there at Glenwood Elementary. Students who ride a school bus may experience a significant delay, so that is to be expected today. For example, buses will need to complete their elementary routes first before beginning the middle school routes. There will also be traffic delays because there's a lot of police barricades around Chapel Hill, and they are, of course, asking for patience from everyone as they work now to move all of these students back home. And as we've been telling you, this is the first day of school. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of a mixed emotion for families. It's exciting. There's a lot of anxiety. We've had a lot of reporting about all of the challenges that can come with the new year. That includes mental health challenges. And to start it like this, on this note, this is going to be setting the tone for a lot of these schools, the districts, of course, UNC Chapel Hill. Where do we go from here? How do you stay secure? They'll be looking at how all the communication has been going throughout this situation. So this has been what many are calling a traumatizing day for a lot of students and families.
And as you're seeing there at Glenwood Elementary, kids getting on the bus, but as Amber points out, it's going to be a long process of getting all the kids home from elementary, middle, and high schools there in the Chapel Hill Carrboro district. That's the situation there at Glenwood Elementary, where things are resolving. Kids are being able to go home. Let's go back now to the UNC campus. Sean Coffey there on South Campus, where more and more buildings are being cleared. Sean, fill us in about what's happening right now.
Largest group of students that we've seen released from any buildings take place right here near the corner of South and Raleigh, where we're standing right now. Out of this building behind me, you can still see there's dozens of students out here now. There's much more foot traffic in this part of campus than there was in the last half hour, which was more than there was in the half hour before that. Obviously, you still see heavy duty armored vehicles that are continuing to drive down this general direction, but I think the sheer foot traffic here points to, as you've alluded to, sort of things trending in the right direction here, that this tends to be a good sign. When I say a large number of students, I mean there have been hundreds of students that have walked by us here in the last few minutes alone, clearing out of these buildings. We've also seen a number of law enforcement officers start driving in the opposite direction down South Road. So we're still learning to effort more about what may or may not be happening in that direction. There's still a very large presence and still some cars that are heading in this direction too. But there does appear to be some peel off from some of the officers that are heading now in the other direction down South Road here. But I mean, as you can see behind me, far more bodies here out on the street than there was when you first came to me at the beginning of this breaking news, and even periodically over the course of the last couple of hours. This is the most number of students that we've seen out and about here at UNC.
And that obviously very encouraging for anyone who's watching this on the UNC campus, concerned about their friends and loved ones on the UNC campus, that things are slowly beginning to resolve themselves. And Sean, there would appear, despite what we're hearing from UNC police, they're saying wait till you get the all clear before you walk around campus. But there obviously wouldn't be any ongoing threat on campus if they were concerned about that. They wouldn't be letting these people walk around as they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, Steve. And I mean, the last update we've gotten also still says that this suspect is at large here. That's, at least we're hearing that they're still looking for someone. But like,
okay, Sean Coffey, with that perspective in that part of campus, and again, we have several of our breaking news crews there on the scene with these live feeds coming in from various parts of South Campus, where we continue to see the same thing, where we see people walking around, people being released from buildings, this process of clearing the buildings. We showed you some video from a student who was on campus who was able to help us understand exactly what was happening there as they were working to clear some of the buildings. We saw that video of police really proceeding just very cautiously, foot by foot, working to clear buildings there on campus. So that process is continuing, and they are making progress. So I hope what everyone can understand from that is the level of anxiety, the level of concern is lifting there on campus right now. Despite the fact that other people remain in lockdown until those buildings are cleared, and what we know is an ongoing, frustrating, nerve-wracking, worrisome situation, because they are technically still under lockdown, but that is slowly working itself.
Yes, and we want to reiterate that the picture that you see on your screen, that was released from Chapel Hill Police, UNC Chapel Hill Police, of the person of interest. In this case, that person was thought to be armed and dangerous, and also we should add that we don't know. It's very difficult to confirm a lot of this information, which we also see, as you see, on social media, but we need to confirm it with authorities before we release that information. And obviously, most of the authorities are on the scene. So we are working our sources, and we are reaching out to them to get everything confirmed before we give you more information publicly. But what it appears, and what we are seeing, is that they are starting to somewhat lift a lot of the lockdown. We have seen the school district release that they have been cleared by authorities to start releasing students, meaning the Chapel Hill Carrboro School District. We have not gotten that official word from UNC Chapel Hill or Chapel Hill Police Department just yet. But as we are just seeing live, it appears that they are letting a lot of people move from different buildings and start to head home. So we are, just to give you a note of what's happening here, we are actively trying to double and sometimes triple confirm our information before we release it publicly.
We are hearing from more and more students now as they are being released from buildings and describing what's been happening, what they know from where they've been on the UNC campus. Let's hear from more of the students.
Where were you when this alert went out, and what can you tell us about what you saw and what you heard?
The projector on the screen just came up with like the Alert Carolina message that was like, there's an armed and dangerous man on campus or something like that. And we just went through the lecture like normal for a little bit, and then we kind of realized it was a pretty serious situation. So I think we'd locked the doors pretty quickly, and we were just kind of like hunkering down, just like sitting in there waiting for more information. And it definitely was a little scary at first. But after a while, we kind of realized the cops were like they were kind of setting up camp like right outside our door. So like after a while, we kind of like, this feels like probably the safest place to be at the moment.
We were just sitting there for a while. A cop comes up to the front of the room and he's like, guys, you can go to South Campus or you can stay in here. So then we're deciding, okay, we're going to go to South Campus, get out of this room. Then we go outside to the lobby and they're like, okay, all clear. You can go anywhere now, just away from the scene.
All right, you are listening live there to some of the students that our Sean Coffey has been speaking with as they've been cleared this afternoon after their lockdown and their shelter in place, and just them describing what they have gone through. Lauren Johnson is joining us now as our live coverage continues with the UNC campus on lockdown.
Amber, been talking to parents online who have students at UNC Chapel Hill afraid. They call this a harrowing experience. One father says he dropped his daughter and his son, they're twins, dropped his son off at Syracuse, his daughter off at UNC, and 6 days later, this is what's happening. Luckily, he is in Chapel Hill feeling a little bit better because he's closer, but still, when your kids are describing to you being locked in their dorm room, sheltered in place in their closet, and you can't talk to them, you don't know what's happening, you can't imagine the feeling of parents dropping your kids off in college thinking they're going to learn and be safe. And this is what happens on day 6 of school.
Yes, it's been a terrifying day for so many families. The Chapel Hill Carrboro School District right around the area also went on to lockdown, but we got word just around 3:40 that they have gotten the all clear from authorities to start releasing students. It's going to be a very long night to get all those students home. They said it's going to have to first, do the elementary route, then come back and do the middle school route. The high schools are releasing on time at 4 o'clock is what that's coming from the school district there. But this is the first day of school for thousands of district traditional calendar district students in our area. We have been reporting on that, and getting prepared. But no one can be prepared for something like this to be your first day of school. And Elena Athens is at one of the elementary schools about a mile away from here. And that's the thing when you have those young children too, they don't have phones, so there was no communication.
Yeah.
So everyone relying heavily just on word from the school district. We're monitoring and working all of our sources with the police department and UNC Chapel Hill just to try to gather more information.
Let's go back to Sean Coffey now for an update of what he's seeing and hearing from where he is. Sean?
Yeah, that's right, Amber. We're still here at the corner of Raleigh and South. I'm here with Sebastian. He's an exchange student. I pronounced your name correctly, right? Exchange student from Vienna, Austria. You said you've been here for only 2 weeks, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So what was going through your head when you first got this alert? You said you were in the gym at the time, around the corner.
Yes,
right?
exactly. It was right behind us at the gym. We got the alert via SMS and email. And supposedly no one really knew. Staff in the gym. After half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, when everyone stopped their training, it got real silent. We went upstairs and basically watched the news all the time along to get informed, to know what's the situation like.
How scary is it in those moments when you realize that this is happening, that this is real, and that there's some sort of danger outside?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, we didn't realize that there's really something that big going on. But after this half an hour, everyone got settled and realized that's not the situation I want to be in right now.
Situation in the past or no?
Not at all. I mean, it gets covered through media up and then. Either like this at all. We watch the news, and there the reporters told us that it's supposedly safe, that the students can run around at the whole campus wherever they kind of want to. That's what we stick to. That's some official came in there, told us we can leave, and that's like all the information we got.
So you really rely on these for
Yeah, I mean the updates basically told us to keep shelter, seek safety.
So that's what I really do appreciate. A few times, obviously, more and more voices here on guys. Back to you.
Especially the exchange students, that this has just been a very traumatizing day. All right, we want to in place, all classes, and again, until you are given an all clear from authorities, which they're still there on the scene doing just that.
You can tell though from the mood of what we're seeing in this shot, Amber, different from when you and Steve are on air just a bit ago. The students seem a little bit more calm, not as embracing each other. There was another image that I saw from my desk when you guys were on air. Being held in, and now these students are going, many of them saying home for the night since there are no more classes, and that's probably where they feel safest at this hour.
Yeah, 3 hours in lockdown for many of these students. And we just got word from UNC hospitals in Chapel Hill, issued an all PMs, lifted their lockdown and have resumed normal operations. Told us earlier today too that they did not have any patients from this lockdown at UNC Chapel Hill. So that's the word there from UNC hospitals.
Very encouraging news. Of course, they would be the ones to receive patients, and we're reporting earlier, just seeing how some of the students had to think so quickly, move furniture in front of doors, trying to hold. One person on social media said that the first thought was to charge the phone to make sure you have some connection to the rest of the world. You know, being locked in your dorm room, not knowing what's going to happen at that point.
It is your lifeline. All right, Josh Chapin has been on the ground there. We want to go now live to Josh. And Josh, I understand you went to a new location.
Yeah, Amber and Lauren, we have moved to Williams Circle. This is a neighborhood. We're about 10 minutes from campus off of MLK, just south of Estes Drive. I want to show you what is going on here. This is Chapel Hill Police, and then one car up, there's also a UNC, University of North Carolina Police Department. If Dave can walk with me here just a couple of paces up. We're in the middle of a neighborhood trying to confirm what exactly happened at this house here on Williams Circle. Again, this is about 10 minutes north of campus. It would be unusual, I would say, to see UNC Chapel Hill Police here at a location that is in the town of Chapel Hill if they were not here in connection to something that happened on campus. Someone inside of the house here, this is 736 Williams Circle, looked out, just closed the blinds very quickly on us. We have asked the folks here, but they are deferring to Chapel Hill Police as to what exactly happened here, whether there was a person taken into custody here. But again, I will say it would be very unusual for the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill Police Department to be here in this particular neighborhood. You see a number of folks standing outside of their homes right now, all the way at the end of Williams Circle, trying to figure out what is going on in their neighborhood. Again, this is Williams Circle, right off of MLK Boulevard, with UNC Chapel Hill Police, as well as the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and as well as a number of different local authorities. As soon as we figure out what exactly happened here, I will let you know, of course. As soon as I get that. Amber Lornbeck.
It's connected. We have not heard that from law enforcement yet, but Josh is going to follow up with us and let us know what he hears from authorities there on the scene.
All right, Josh, thank you. I know you've been down there on the ground and trying to gather information. It's been just a fluid situation all afternoon, and getting information is a little bit difficult in these sort of circumstances. So you really just rely on kind of where you are and what you're seeing with our reporters on the ground. So Josh, we appreciate your info there, and we'll check back as you gather more information.
You know, and the entire university experience. And I know some person said online, I don't know how I go back to class tomorrow. Or I don't know how I sleep in my dorm room, you know, safely and comfortably tonight. So this is going to shake up a lot of students. Not quite sure exactly is happening with them. You can see Akila Davis there on campus. Akila, do you have an update for us from where you're standing?
That you can really see the panic in the eyes of the students who have been escorted out of the buildings. I've seen countless numbers of students just crying, others just looking so anxious. We've watched groups of students escorted out. Once she wasn't sure she'd make it home today. Other was on FaceTime with her mother as she was walking home. She had just gotten released from a building. This is day 6 of classes here on the campus.
This is really irritating me, guys. I don't know what the heck. Oh my God, my sound's on. Oh my God, I don't want to hear my voice. I don't know. It keeps coming up with this internal error. Hold on, let me see.
Person on campus, and everyone was to shelter in place. Just after one. And as the day has progressed, police released a picture of someone who they called a person of interest. Very conservative in our reporting on that situation. We will stay with what UNC Police and Chapel Hill Police are telling us about that, and that is the very latest that they have given. Because, of course, all of the authorities are on the scene. And then high school, but it's going to be a very, very long evening getting all of those students back home. And as we've been watching live here on our pictures of campus, they have been slowly releasing some of the students on UNC. Camp.
Back to business as usual yet?
Yes, actually, I just received an email about UNC issuing the all clear.
And Ty, you spoke about that frustration of not knowing what was happening. What do you hope to learn tonight at the very earliest?
I'd like to hear the university and the emergency update system be critiqued, and I'd like to hear some accountability on that, because most of the updates were on Instagram stories, which is not a good way to update people on serious issues like this. I only received one text message during the incident, and then another text message about an hour and a half later. So we were really in the dark, and we had to find our own means to figure out what was going on.
And Ty, now that they've given the all clear, I'm just curious, how are you feeling? I mean, what will it take for you to feel safe on your own campus again?
Well, I mean, I'd like to hear the university say that they're going to take some better actions on preventing things like this. You know, I mean, I don't have any much information on exactly what happened, but I'd like to hear that they're going to take steps to prevent actions like this in the future, and also to take actions on better means of communicating to the students and to the people in the surrounding area what needs to happen and what's going on.
And these are all questions that we hope we have the chance to ask those university officials later today. Ty, thank you so much for your time. But to quickly recap for you guys at home, 1 o'clock this afternoon, UNC sent out an alert stating that there was an armed or dangerous person on or near campus. Students, faculty, staff, all sheltering in place. Up until now, we just got that all clear about 4:15, 4:16 this afternoon, moments ago. And so a lot of questions still remain. We don't know if anyone was injured from this threat that was on campus, and we don't know the nature of that threat either.
All right, and we have a lot of action taking place in the tropics as well. We will continue to follow any breaking updates from UNC Chapel Hill, but right now we're going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope for the latest on the forecast. Lainey.
I tell you what, it's been kind of a cloudy day, kind of a gloomy day. We've had, of course, the flooding rains this morning, first day of school for a lot of kids, and we've dealt with some rain. Now we've got another wave of rain that's moving in right now over the mountain.
I guess they're taking a break and talking about the weather. I don't know. I didn't catch the end before I went to the weather. I was trying to do something for the live in an hour. KK, the same way people are giving us the wrong information about missing people. It's crazy. All that stuff that what we knew about April Hooks being missing is not all that's happened. And she's in real danger. And people are just not caring. And it's really stressing me out. So her cousin's coming up on panel tonight and talk about it. So I hope y'all here tonight. Man, are they done with this thing? I'm just going to end it anyway because I have to be back in an hour. So I will see all of you back in an hour. I hope please hit the thumbs up for me. And she's been missing 5 days. You weren't here last night whenever I went over it? She's from Lynchburg, Virginia. Yeah, I'll be back tonight, and I hope to, well, in an hour, and I hope to see you guys there. Pray for everyone at UNC Chapel Hill.